Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to B&B's broadcast of
The Witcher.
Because Our Opinion Matters. I'm Burke.
I'm Bird, and we're here to bring you what you just said.
Exactly. Jumping the gun.
We really like our intros, apparently.
Apparently. At some point, we might even be good at them, so you never know.
I sort of hope not, because then the charming...
The awkward intro angle.
Yeah, that wouldn't work if we get too good at it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you got a chance to finish the last 4 episodes of Witcher.
I did.
What'd you think?
Honestly, the series got brought down from a 3 to like a -1 for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really didn't like the end. Like, the last episode I'm okay with. The last episode... was pretty good. I think if the entire season was episode 1 and episode 8, it would have been a great season. If you just cut 2 through 7, it would be great.
A ringing endorsement there. Okay, so where do you want to start? What brought it down for you?
Honestly, it was the senseless nudity thing again. So for me, just because of the way that I am and the type of spirituality I practice, I don't engage in any sort of visual stimulation with naked people.
Sure.
And so one of the things that I've learned to do is that when that kind of thing comes on screen, I study the wall behind the TV or I look somewhere else. And it felt like I was really studying my wall for about half of the
So how's your wall doing?
It's doing great. My phone's doing great. My fireplace is doing great. My wall's doing... I'm not sure how my TV set's doing.
Oh, okay. TV set's feeling a little left out then.
Yeah. And, okay, so there was the one scene where it's on the dragon episode, and they're hanging out in her tent and they're waking up. They have that conversation before they go to bed.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. You know, they don't, it's not like gratuitous. It's definitely implying that they're doing something, but it's not like, so, I thought that would have been a much better way for them to go.
Yeah.
In terms of the series I mean, it is a part of the story, their relationship, if you can call it a relationship. There was so little of it that was a relationship. It was more like a series of one-night stands.
Yeah.
And that was just like, okay, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, so I haven't played the games, but it feels like there are a couple that happens in the games. I know this is a prequel.
Yes, they do.
And it feels kind of like, okay, we know these two have a background. They're supposed to be together, but they don't get together until the games. So what can we do to imply something without actually following through? Because this isn't the games.
Right.
And you need to, we can't pay that off too early.
Right. And to be fair, even in the games, they are very on again, off again. Honestly, it's not my favorite part of the games either.
Yeah. As
far as going through the games, there are a few different potential love interests that you can have throughout the game.
Yeah.
And Yennefer is not the one I went with.
Oh, I see.
I went with Triss.
So were you disappointed that Triss wasn't more featured?
Yes. And also, I mean, the actress who played her was phenomenal, but she doesn't very much look like, at least in Witcher 3. Her hair is it's kept up pretty tight. And it is bright red, not like this like dull red. And it almost like in the games, it kind of evokes this idea that she probably is either dyeing it or it's enchanted or something like that. That's why it's so bright red. It doesn't look natural. And in the TV series,
she looks like she doesn't have a soul. It's so red.
Sort of, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Pretty much. And in the TV series, she essentially looks like the chick from Brave.
Yeah, Merida.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know why I wanted to call her Fiona. Probably because that's what Siri
Fiona, I mean,
says.
that's another ginger in a popular children's franchise.
Which one?
Shrek.
Oh, God.
How do you not know Shrek?
I know Shrek. It's just I have a kid, so I watch all of these movies
they all
so
just
often.
blur together.
It is now kids movies. It's not like I
see.
can keep them separate, especially when I don't really care about them in the first place.
Okay, fair enough. Well, so I guess on the topic of nudity doesn't bother me per se. I think like there are places where it makes sense. After the Striga fight,
Yeah.
after the curse falls off, it makes
Right.
sense that person would
Right.
be naked.
Right.
The monster doesn't just have clothes all of a sudden.
Right.
She's not Elsa. She doesn't have magical clothes making powers, right? But I do think a lot of it did seem very like they're trying to draw in an audience.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Absolutely.
it's for ratings. It's for
Absolutely.
ratings purposes.
And to your points, specifically with the Striga episode, I didn't even notice. Like, it was a part of the story. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Very much like you said. But when it goes out of its way to show a lot,
Yeah.
that's when I begin going like, okay, no, let's just not do this here.
Gotcha. So that pulled you out of it a little bit. What did you think about the actual storylines going forward? Because I thought the princess's Ciri, I thought her storyline really stalls out. I feel like they keep trying to give her things to do, but really, she just goes out in the woods and is just out in the woods.
Yeah.
I
I think her thing really does stall out. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was always bored whenever she was on screen. And that's nothing
Yeah.
against the actor. I just think there wasn't anything for a character to do.
Right. There were 2 or 3 big moments. One was that whole questioning confrontation with Mousak. Doppelganger Mousak.
Mm-hmm.
And that was honestly a very short scene. She did really good in that. When they show her back in Sintra in the castle, I don't remember if that's episode 7 or 8.
Yeah,
But I think it's 8.
It was towards the end. Yeah, I'm not sure.
When they
couldn't
wrap
tell you
everything up,
specifically.
and Geralt's supposed to be in the gatehouse, and
Yeah.
that whole angle. I thought she was able to act a bit more in that episode, and I liked that. I liked her in episode 1,
Yeah.
but other than that, I very much agree with you that whenever she was on screen, it was pretty much a let's bring the intensity level down so we can spike it again.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me. I know I've made the Game of Thrones comparisons before, but it kind of
Right.
reminds me of Bran, where they just ran out of stuff for him to do, and like actually ended up dropping him from a whole season.
Oh, wow.
At one point. I guess that's not a good comparison to use with someone who hasn't seen Game of Thrones,
Sure.
but for anyone out there listening, maybe that makes a little bit of sense.
Sure.
Where he's always just kind of wandering around. Sometimes he has stuff to do, but they use his story up so quick.
He's
and...
the Miz in WWE.
Sure. I haven't followed the Miz in a bit. But...
That's my point.
Oh, there you go.
It's very hard
well,
to follow the
point
Miz.
well made. So someone we neglected to talk about last time was Yes Dear, or Yes Gear, or the Bard guy. You know the Bard
Yaskier?
guy?
Yaskier.
Yasuke?
He's not Sasuke.
No, he's not Sasuke. He's Yasuke.
I'm just going to call him Dandelion because that's what he is in the games.
Okay,
I
sounds good.
loved him.
He was funny.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And very much was the only reason I was able to stomach the middle episodes.
So I have a line. My favorite line of the first season.
I'm very, very much hoping it is the same one I wrote down.
Okay. Mine is written down. What is yours?
Where'd it go?
All right. Your best line of the season award goes to...
Dandelion. Well, not okay.
For...
Okay, actually, I can't say that. My best line of the season is Geralt in episode 1. But my favorite Dandelion quote is, "Are you short of a marble?"
It
is
not
a
mine.
wonderful insult. I love it. I want to use it. It is charming. It is so old school that it's funny. it's not at anyone's expense, but it also communicates a certain amount of displeasure.
That's fair. That's fair. I like him. He's really funny. My favorite line
Go.
is, "Oh, Valley of Sword." I thought that was amazing. When he's, I think that's episode 5.
When they meet Yennefer the first time.
Yep, and he's kind of pinned up against the wall trying to sing to himself. Yeah, that was fun. I like that. It was very sitcom-y, but it hit me in just the right way. So I know I said that Yennefer was my favorite character, but a close second would be Dandelion. I think he's pretty funny.
Indeed. Definitely makes the show watchable when it gets really slow.
Maybe even a tad underutilized.
Very much so.
He's not in every episode, which is a shame. Probably because it's non-linear.
Right.
It doesn't make sense for him to be there yet. But I wish he was in every episode because I like the back and forth between him and Geralt. I think Geralt works a lot better when he has somebody kind of ridiculous to play off of.
Yes, they're the two ends of the extreme.
Yeah, Geralt by himself is boring. Geralt putting up with somebody that's really frustrating him is funny.
It is entertaining for sure. Now, the really funny thing is the gentleman who played Dandelion reminds me so much of the bard from my most recent D&D campaign.
Okay.
We would seriously be sitting in the local tavern playing D&D, and he would bust out in song that he had spent the week writing for the campaign.
That's outstanding.
Michael, shout out to you, brother. You're a phenomenal bard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Most bards I've played with just seduce anything.
Well, he does that
anywhere at any time, and that's why they're a bard.
Well, he does that too.
Okay.
Maybe we should get him on the show for when we do our own D&D campaign.
Oh, that'd be fun.
A lot of fun. He's
that'd
really
be
good.
a lot of fun. Spoilers, we're thinking about running a campaign on camera. We think that might be kind of fun. Let us know if that's something you would be into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially considering The Witcher seems to me to be a very well-written D&D campaign.
Yeah, after you said that, I was thinking about it, and I can see that. I will validate your theory.
Yes. It's actually not my theory. It's my father-in-law's, which I also ascribe to.
There you go. I like it. So
going back to my best quote
go for
of the entire season happens right off the bat in episode 1. And for me, it's when Geralt says, "If I have to choose between two evils, I'd rather not choose."
Yes.
That
Every
very
man's...
much sums up my opinion. We're getting into an election year. That's essentially been my... I'd really rather not choose.
I'd rather be indecisive.
I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. Why do I have to vote for any of you? So I might just actually do the write-in.
Oh, there you go. Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, there you go. Dandelion Geralt 2020.
There you go. So something I wanted to talk about, because I think it's an interesting bit of world building, is kind of how magic works in this world.
My God, the rule book!
I must consult the rules.
No!
In general, you have... there's a spectrum, but usually you can kind of put magical worlds into either high-tier settings or low-tier settings. It's almost like power scaling characters. Low-tier magical settings, any magic is significant. Magic is significant. Woo! All right. I draw. I play Poliwag in defense mode. I lay 2 Starmies and tap a Dratini to summon Charmander in attack mode. And with that, I end my turn.
That was a big turn.
They don't call me Big Turn Jim for nothing. In fact, they don't call me Big Turn Jim at all. Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Sword!
Low tier magical settings, any magic is significant.
Look at this guy. Every time he says magic, I just want to slap him.
Stop saying magic so much. We get it. Magic is significant.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Someplace like Middle Earth. Magic doesn't happen that often, and it's usually pretty simple. Gandalf charging in just kind of manipulates light a little bit, and it makes the charge successful, but Gandalf himself showing up won't turn the tide of a battle.
Gandalf and an army will.
Yes, and magic is used very cleverly.
Yes.
You've got to kind of pick and choose when you put it out there. And any magic is significant in those settings, but one mage isn't going to show up and wreck a battle. Now, high-tier settings, like a lot of anime are high-tier settings, where you've got planet-busting potential in some characters. Harry Potter, I would say, is a high-tier magic setting.
Yeah.
There is totally magic there that is just insignificant and throws by it goes by the wayside.
Right.
Trying to think of another good example of a high-tier setting.
I think you get it in a lot of video games.
Oh,
that
a
are
lot of
based
video games for
around
sure.
Magic. It's interesting in the TV series, for instance, Geralt's magic is fairly low tier.
For the setting.
Fairly insignificant. In the game, it's a lot more significant.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of leads me into my point here. One of the things I do when I watch fantasy is I try to figure out where does it tier? How is this kind of on the higher end of the spectrum? Is there a ton of magic in this setting, or is this, kind of a more low tier setting? I think this one's really interesting because it's a high tier setting, but the problem with a lot of high tier settings is foot soldiers become irrelevant. Unless you are a high-powered character, nothing matters.
Right.
Unless you're a Saiyan, nothing matters in Dragon Ball.
Sure.
You can't make a difference. You just can't. You are insignificant. You see this in actually a lot of anime. Bleach. Unless you're like captain level, you're insignificant.
Right.
Naruto. If you're not, Jonin or higher.
Yeah. Even many
You don't-
Jonin are not significant.
Yeah, you're fodder. You don't matter. You can't, So once you have these huge battles, people come in and just wreck them. And high-tier magical settings have a really hard time pulling off big, epic battles.
Yes.
A lot of times because you have these characters that just wreck house.
Yeah.
So I thought this setting is really interesting because it is high-tier.
Sure.
You have people throwing around these giant fireballs that are just going to wipe troops out. You've got mind control. You've got shape-shifting. You've got ridiculous telekinesis and pyromancy and shielding. All this crazy stuff. But to keep it from getting too ridiculous, it seems like it exerts a toll, Whether that's, killing you or, your nosebleeds or...
Yeah.
Whatever, It seems like there is an energy meter that starts to drain off pretty quick.
It's almost like a mana gauge that once you deplete it starts hitting your health points.
Yeah. Or it's like if you cast from your HP pool.
Yes.
Right? You don't have separate gauges. Actually, I like that. That's my theory for this setting that I just came up with. I think you don't have a mana bar. I think you have an HP bar and you cast straight from your HP.
I concur.
Actually, since this is a game, that's probably not true.
It's not true, actually.
But I think...
You actually can gain an ability, however, that allows you to do that.
Oh, there you go.
Also, you don't ever play the high-tier wizards.
Well, I would say that if we were show accurate, if I were designing a game, I haven't played the other ones, and I'm designing a game for this show, If I were trying to be faithful, I would just have one bar, and you cast straight from your HP bar.
I think that's a good idea.
And it makes the final battle really interesting.
It really does.
My favorite episode of the whole season was the last one, where we get the big high-tier magical fight.
All right, then. Well, I lay 2 cards face down and play Caterpie in attack mode.
My God! No one's ever been able to summon him! All right, well, to counter your Caterpie, I summon Shark Pick in defense mode.
You've activated my trap.
My God.
Unknown. Into the great unknown. What this allows me to do is transform this pick into player unknown.
My God. So this is where all my guitar picks have been going.
So you figured it out?
I did. But thankfully, I have the heart of the cards on my side, and I draw.
Not the heart of the cards!
I draw the heart of the cards in attack mode.
That you don't see that often because, like I say, in high-tier magical settings, battles are really hard
Yeah.
to fight on a big scale because you've got these characters just wreck everything.
Yeah.
So we've got 60 mages in a high-tier setting. That is so significant.
Was
But,
it 60? I thought it was...
well, some of
30
them
something.
fled in the night. I believe 60 came and they were left with 22.
Yeah, that's right.
I could
Yeah.
be pulling
And
those
then
out of
there's-
nowhere.
And then there's, or it might have been 32, but I remember the 2 being at the end of the number. And then there was Fringilla on the other side.
Yeah, with her own mages.
Right.
Who would do things like
Destroy themselves.
suicide bomb, you know?
Yeah.
They would sacrifice everything they have and die to launch these huge fireballs, right? So it's kind of interesting because we've got a high tier setting, but we neutralize all these characters because if they do high tier stuff,
Yeah.
they die.
Yeah.
So
Which really
suddenly,
does amp up the emotion around Nilfgaard. Because
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they're willing to kill off their mages to throw these bombs. Whereas the entire school of magical thought is around not dying.
yeah. So I thought that was really cool because suddenly troops are significant again. Foot soldiers are significant
Yeah.
again in a high tier setting, which you don't see that often.
Yeah.
You know, in a Harry Potter world, as soon as wizards enter the battlefield, your foot soldiers, your muggles mean nothing.
Yeah.
Just nothing. So it was a really cool experience for me because I haven't seen too many shows that can balance a high tier setting with an
Yeah.
epic war scene.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I like all the inventive ways they're using magic in the end.
Yes. Which was your favorite in the finale? Which clever use of magic was your favorite?
I kind of like the idea of the wormy things, the mind control.
Yeah.
I thought that is insidious and a really cool representation of
Yeah.
it. And I'm curious if those are, you know, ethereal beings of some sort that have been kind
Right,
of captured and twisted so that they can be weaponized and used, or if this is a representation of a spell and it's not sentient at all.
That would be very interesting.
So I'm not sure.
I really hope they
think-
answer that.
I think if I had to answer it without any further information, I would lean towards it's a sentient being.
Sure.
Because you need a mind to drive another mind. At least that's how it works
Sure.
in my mind.
Sure.
There was a whole lot of minds in that sentence.
Sure.
And it wouldn't be out of place for the setting. We saw the giant scorpion
Yep.
thing that came after Yennefer
Yep.
earlier in the season. So that's my theory.
Nice.
But I could be totally wrong. They never explain it. They show, they don't tell, which is really cool.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Again, it feels like a D&D campaign. You get rid of the thing, but how many people playing D&D actually sit down and then question the DM? What was that? How can I find out what that was? Maybe it's significant information. You as a DM could probably tell me.
Yeah.
But I know I don't sit there and question the DM about it.
Well, so I have used like abyssal black ooze before.
What's that?
And it was something I came up with, but it was a mind control kind of agent of corruption that was sort of parasitic and would take over the body of anything it touched. And it's kind of a way to get away with intelligent zombies.
I see.
But yeah, my players didn't care what it was. So, you know, I mean, that's the way it goes at my table, though. My players see a plot and go, yeah, we're going to go that way.
No plot survives contact with the players.
That is so true. But so I really like that. I really like the big pyromancy moment out of Yennefer. I think,
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
like I said, I think she's kind of the main character. So to give her the big hero moment at the end, I thought was fitting.
Sure.
Because I would say she actually has more of the big hero moment, like even over Geralt. I don't think we see a big hero moment out of Geralt unless it's with the dragon.
I don't know. For me, heroism requires an element of self-sacrifice.
Sure.
There was nothing that Geralt really did throughout the series that sacrificed himself for the good of someone or someone's else.
Okay.
I like him a lot, but I don't think he's the hero. I think you could make a better argument for Yennefer being a hero.
Okay. Sure.
I think the biggest hero, though, was probably Tissaia. She knew leading
the
everybody
teacher.
in, she knew she was going to die.
Okay.
She knew everyone else was going to die. And she was still holding to her principle for what she believed was good.
Yeah. Which is funny given where her character starts, because I was convinced she was a bad guy for a long time.
Yeah, totally.
So kind of a fun turnaround there. I did feel for her in the end, which is always nice when a show can kind of take me on a little bit of a journey.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, it's my turn to draw then. I play Bellsprout, upside down mode. It allows me to activate the unknown shark pick. No. And you know what that means.
No, it's not possible!
If you don't play my favorite riff on that guitar right there, I win.
Ha! 4 of a magic! I win! And only 2 of them are Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think there is a flaw in your plan.
My God, the rule book!
I must consult the rules.
No!
I think that's about all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm right there
I'm
with you.
ready. I'm ready to move on to ratings if you are.
Sounds good.
So for me, just because I do get so into setting building, and they did a really good job of that towards the end, and you know, Yennefer was my main buy-in, and I feel like she has a fun arc and it climaxes well, and yeah, I think they stuck the landing. So if we're sticking to our system of, you know, -10, +10, 0 is totally average, I think this is above average. It's not spectacular.
Yeah.
It's not amazing. It has a lot more potential that I feel is a little bit unrealized, but it does get better as you go through the series. So
Sure.
I think I'm going to land on a 3.
Interesting. Okay.
Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Sword! Sword. Sword! Sword! Sword? Pokemon in attack mode!
I think for me, there was definitely an element of letdown.
Okay.
I was very excited for the series after the pilot. And I do think, to a degree, the finale redeems the series.
Okay.
You could tell the same story in 3 episodes, though, in my opinion.
Okay.
You wouldn't have as many events. You wouldn't have as much monster hunting. You wouldn't have as many episodes, obviously. But you could tell the same story in much shorter amount of time. The amount of timeline skipping
Yeah.
did not make it feel intriguing. It made it feel convoluted.
It did feel very convoluted.
The message on a moral level wasn't really there.
Mm-hmm.
It jumped around all over the place. The message on a political level was way too overt. I will say props to whoever was on location scouting and the film crew. They did an awesome job. The actors themselves, I think, did exceedingly well for what they were probably given in terms of their characters. But for the show as a whole, I would actually rate this probably a -1.
Okay, so slightly below average for you.
Slightly below average.
Okay, cool.
But again, that could be because of the letdown.
There is a factor, an element of letdown for sure.
I was very much thrown back to Middle Earth
Mm.
from the first episode. And that's an extremely high standard to live up to. It could be coloring my review a little bit.
Gotcha. Well, that's fair. I mean, it's all about opinions,
I probably won't be
man.
watching season 2. Personally.
Gotcha.
So, you know.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. But I don't know. If you're into that kind of thing, I never watched Game of Thrones, so I can't make that comparison. But from what I've heard about Game of Thrones, you might be into it. If you like the games, it's probably worth a watch. I would say if you're kind of that same bent as me, where you just want nothing to do with naked bodies, probably don't give it a watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Overall, pretty mediocre, sadly, and on to bigger and better things.
Bigger and better things. Huzzah! All right. Well, hopefully you've got an idea of whether or not you would like it. You know whether or not we like it, and
Oh, one element I didn't comment on
oh yeah,
that
go.
I really did
Shoot.
enjoy.
Quick.
Music.
Music.
Get the soundtrack.
Oh, Valley of.
You know, that joke is getting sorta old.